Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something a little more advanced in the ETF world, the GNDQ fund from Betashares. If you've been curious about how leveraged or geared ETFs work, especially ones giving exposure to the US tech-heavy market via the Nasdaq 100, you'll want to stick around. We'll cover what GNDQ is, how it works, the risks, the potential rewards, and whether it might make sense for your portfolio. So first up, what is GNDQ? GNDQ stands for the Wealth Builder Nasdaq 100 Geared ETF. It's listed on the ASX under the ticker code GNDQ. The fund's stated objective is to help investors build long-term wealth by providing moderately geared exposure to the returns of the Nasdaq 100. In simple terms, instead of just buying the plain vanilla Nasdaq 100 ETF, this one uses gearing or borrowing to amplify exposure. Here's the mechanism. GNDQ pools investors' money, then the fund itself borrows money, which is gearing, and invests the combined amount into another ETF, namely the NDQ Betashares ETF, which tracks the largest 100 non-financial companies listed on the Nasdaq. The gearing ratio, i.e. the borrowed amount as a percentage of total assets, is targeted to be between 30 and 40% on a given day. That means the fund's exposure to the underlying portfolio via the gearing is roughly 143 to 167% of its net asset value on any given day. Importantly, they emphasize that the returns over periods longer than a day may differ due to rebalancing, compounding, and volatility. Let's go through some of the key facts that you should be aware of. The management fee and cost is 0.5% per annum, as of the information provided by Betashares. Distribution frequency is semi-annual, and as of the 30th of September 2025, the sector allocation of the underlying portfolio shows heavy skewing towards technology at 54.7%, communication services at 15.3%, and consumer discretionary at 13%. The remainder is smaller in sectors like industrials, healthcare, utilities, materials, energy, and financials. Current gearing multiple is about 1.5 times. What this means is the underlying exposure rises 1% on a day. The fund itself may rise 1.5% due to the gearing. Okay, so why might someone consider GNDQ? Here are some of the benefits. First, accelerated wealth creation. Because of gearing, you get magnified exposure to the performance of the Nasdaq 100. If the underlying market does well, your gains can be higher than non-geared exposure. Secondly, access to major US tech companies. Through the underlying NDQ ETF, you might get exposure to big names like Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Nvidia. And lastly, managed gearing. One of the advantages here is that the gearing is managed internally by the fund, which means you as an investor don't need to apply for a margin loan, undergo credit checks, or manage margin calls yourself. That simplifies getting leveraged exposure. Of course, and it is very important, there are significant risks with GNDQ. Here's what to watch. The first is the gearing risk. Because the fund uses borrowed money, losses are amplified just like gains are. If the underlying falls, this fund may fall even more. The fund material states that geared strategies may not be suitable for all investors. Next is rebalancing and compounding risk. The fund emphasizes that over periods longer than a day, returns may differ significantly from simply multiplying the daily gearing factor. Because of volatile underlying markets and rebalancing, the outcome may deviate. Next is currency risk. Since you're investing in US market companies, currency movements, which is the Australian dollar compared to the US, can impact returns for Australian investors. Next is underlying ETF risk. The performance of NDQ, which is the underlying fund, drives the returns, so any risk in that portfolio may also flow through to this one. Next is high volatility. The fund really is more volatile than a non-geared version, so if you're not comfortable with larger swings both up and down, it may not suit you. And finally, it's not index tracking. This fund doesn't aim to track a specific index closely. It's actively managed in terms of gearing, and that changes how one might compare its performance. Now let's talk about suitability. This fund might suit investors who have high risk tolerance and who believe the US tech sector will continue to perform strongly over a multi-year horizon. It will also suit people who understand gearing, compounding effects, and are comfortable with volatility and drawdowns, and those looking for a simpler way to get leveraged exposure to the Nasdaq without arranging their own margin lending. Now, this fund might not be suitable for people who prefer capital preservation or who are risk averse, those with short-term horizons who can't tolerate big swings, investors who don't want to deal with the added complexity of gearing or the higher potential for higher losses, those wanting a straightforward benchmarking tracking ETF rather than a more complex geared product. Okay, now here's a quick performance snapshot, and note past performance is not indicative of future results. So the fund's 1 month performance is 6% versus the underlying fund at 4%. Now 3 month is 10.9% versus 7.7%. 6 month, 30% versus the fund's 20%. Now, because the fund was launched in October 2024, longer term data isn't quite yet available. Now, these results illustrate how gearing has amplified the upside in a rising market. But remember, when markets fall, you'd expect the opposite. So, in summary, GNDQ offers a way for Australian investors to gain geared or magnified exposure to the Nasdaq 100 via a managed fund. The potential upside is greater than a non-geared ETF in favourable markets, but so too is the potential downside. If you're bullish on US large-cap non-financial companies, comfortable with risk, have a multi-year time horizon, and want a set-and-forget type vehicle rather than managing your own margin loan, GNDQ might be worth a look. On the flip side, if you're more focused on capital preservation, lower volatility, or simply want a benchmark tracking ETF, then conventional non-geared ETF may be more appropriate. As always, this is not personal financial advice, so make sure you assess your own risk tolerance and investment goals. Read the documentation, consider speaking with a qualified financial advisor, and ensure you understand exactly how the product works and what can go wrong.